Hi, thanks for joining me. So I'm just going to do a little video about the news networks and the familiarity between the news networks and how the controlling companies have been sort of dwindled down to just a handful. I got a short video from Tim Pool, and he'll tell you who owns the different news companies.
In the early 1980s, roughly 50 different companies owned 90% of American media. By 1992, that number had dropped to less than 2 dozen. And in recent years, that same 90% has fallen to just 6 major conglomerates. Although various mergers and layers of external control make this an inexact number, most of the big 6 hold interests in film production, cable and broadcast television, news, sports, music, and online streaming. So, who exactly controls the media? As of 2015, the largest media company in the world by revenue is Comcast. According to the SEC, in 2014, they reportedly made nearly $69 billion. Like the other conglomerates, Comcast owns nearly every step in media production and distribution. In fact, Comcast is the single largest cable provider on Earth. Content is created through subsidiaries like NBC Universal, which is then broadcast over TV and the internet through Xfinity. Comcast is also a major internet service provider, covering more than half of all U.S. broadband customers. Even online streaming giant Hulu is jointly owned by 3 of the big 6. The next largest conglomerate is the Walt Disney Company, with reportedly roughly $48 billion in revenue. Disney has holdings in theme parks, movie studios, and diverse television networks such as ABC, A&E, and ESPN. They also own a number of legacy companies like Pixar, Marvel Entertainment, and Lucasfilms of the Star Wars franchise. The third of the big 6 is 21st Century Fox, which emerged in 2013 as a spin-off of Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation. Today, Fox makes about $32 billion a year and is predominantly focused on film and television, including Fox News Channel, which made nearly $800 million in ad revenue in 2014. The last independent conglomerate is Time Warner, with revenues of about $27 billion. In the 1990s, they were the largest media company in the world, but an unsuccessful merger with AOL at the peak of the dot-com bubble made them lose nearly $100 billion in 2002. Since then, AOL and Time Inc., as well as Time Warner's entire cable division, have become separate companies. Because they are now unrelated, Time Warner and Time Warner Cable are the 4th and 5th largest media companies in the world, according to Forbes. Finally, the last 2 are CBS and Viacom. In 2013, they reported about $14 to $15 billion in revenue each. They used to be a single company controlled by National Amusements, a movie theater chain. Today, although they are individually held, National Amusements owners have enough stock in both to effectively dictate control. So in a way, there aren't even 6 conglomerates, but 5. Or maybe there are 7. Some, including Time Warner's former vice chairman Ted Turner, have said media conglomerates have become oligopolies and that they stifle innovation. But others point out that they can also provide a greater global reach for smaller and newer companies.
I'm not so sure about that last part. I think their main focus is really just to build a giant pyramid with them on the top. But just to show you what kind of influence this narrowing of parent companies owning the news media. Listen to this.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets without checking facts first.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
The parroting of news organization, even when they actually talk about themselves, is quite remarkable. You'll actually see very little difference between most of the news organization, with the exception of Fox. Now, unfortunately, Fox News has been bought out by Disney, and anyway, we're starting to see what's happening with Fox News. I'm going to go over to Amazing Lucas, and he's going to talk a little bit about Janine Pirro.
What I'm expecting. I come to watch this segment that everyone's losing their minds over, because CNN, all these other articles, Islamophobia. I'm like, okay, let's see what she said. Brooke.
Think about it. Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
Now, I don't know about you, but to me, there was nothing wrong about what she just said. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact,
absolutely nothing. I mean, she's questioning. I mean, all the things they throw on Trump. This is what they get a news anchor suspended for?
And there's nothing Islamophobic, nothing. I don't even like using that word. I'm tired of them, how the left just constantly puts on words, just they're Frankenstein with words. Homophobia, which is a medical term, meaning irrational fear. Well, let's just add that to Islamophobia. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Let's just add that to homophobia. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's just add that to transphobia. It's just like all these phobias, like, miss me with this nonsense. If you listen to what she said, all she did was pose a very, very simple question. She merely states that the hijab, and then cites the Quran, which I don't know. Are you telling me that it's not in the Quran, what she's saying? Like, there's no one's disputing the facts that she laid out. They're just saying, my feelings, I don't like what she says. No one's, that's how it works. Isn't that crazy? And another thing that irritates me is that when it comes to the hijab, the picture that irritated me the most was seeing the woman with the American flag hijab. You know the hijab where women are getting arrested for taking it off, where they're burning the hijab. You know where there's protests like for women for not to wear the hijab. But yeah, they want to glamorize this thing, like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's such a symbol of feminism and hope and just yes. Isn't that crazy though? I always find it comical, especially with the Women's March. You never hear any women's marches going on in Saudi Arabia. You never hear any women's marches going on in Indonesia. All she asked is the hijab a representation of something bigger, of Sharia law. And anyone who knows anything about Sharia law knows you really don't want that coming here to the States. So
absolutely not. Of course, because that's going to change the whole dynamics of the United States and any country that practices Sharia law. Now, next thing you know, you're not a democracy anymore. You're not even a republic. You're nothing. You're basically run by religious leaders, and that's all it comes down to. Now, it is coming to a point where we don't have a choice in news media. It's all going to be one same echo chamber. Once Disney takes full control of Fox, I'm sure that the suspension of Pirro is going to be just another one of a long line. I mean, they backed up Tucker Carlson for now, but the next time around, they'll probably suspend him too. And I just can see, Fox News turning into an ABC, an NBC, whatever, and whatever news station, CNN, God forbid. This last little part here is Andrew Dice talking about social media. Now, this is very interesting because it's not only the news networks, it's also almost all the social media outlets. Listen to him.
And since such an industry insider is publicly pressuring the CEO of YouTube to ban Ben Shapiro, just proves that nobody's safe. Let's not forget that senior engineers in Google discussed remotely deactivating President Trump's cell phone and deleting the Gmail accounts of everyone in his administration. And Tim Berners-Lee, the man who's credited with founding the World Wide Web in 1989, said that he's horrified with how it's turned out because President Trump is allowed to use it the way he does. We're not even one full quarter into 2019. The 2020 election is more than a year and a half away, and I can't imagine who else is going to get banned between now and then. I appreciate you guys more than you know, so
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Mark Dice. So yes, this is where where we're at right now. Do we have any kind of control of what information is out there? The news media is bought in, and as soon as Fox turns over and becomes another CNN, they're pretty much useless to watch the news. They're just going to be pushing left-wing agenda, and also now social media is under serious attack. It's not just somebody like Alex Jones. It's now just a conservative voice like Ben Shapiro, who, Jordan Peterson and others like that, who use good talking points and facts to make a case, and they're not even going to be able to do that anymore. And we're really at a pivotal point in human history. Are we just going to be a giant Soviet bloc? The whole world's going to be like a Soviet bloc, the ex-Soviet bloc. Anyway, thank you for watching. Catch you next time.